All right, if you guys are all set, I'm going to go ahead and get started then.
Sounds good.
All right. Hello, everyone. Aloha mai kako, and welcome to our live installment of Virtual HPU. Today, we'll be covering 25 different Hawaiian words and phrases to help keep you all up to speed when you make the move to Oahu come this fall. And before we get into the words, I'm just going to do a short introduction about myself to get you guys more familiarized with who I am. So my name is Kaimana Indica, and I'm currently entering my senior year this fall at Hawaii Pacific University. And I'm going to be studying multimedia and cinematic productions, wrapping up my last year. On the side, I do work as a campus tour guide during the school year. So if I do talk fast or talk a little bit too much, that is the reason why. I'm originally from the island of Maui, so that's like a 25 to 30-minute plane ride over from Oahu. And I'm also a born and raised local boy myself. And I am a native Hawaiian to Hawaii as well. We're going to be jumping into the words shortly, but I'm going to be going over the pi'apa beforehand, which is the Hawaiian alphabet. We're going to get into these words. I'm going to try and go at a steady pace. If you need clarification on any of the words, we will have a question and answer period at the end of this presentation, so you can hold your questions up until that point or drop them into the live chat below, and then we can cover those once this presentation is over. So as I said before, we're going to be covering the pi'apa, which is the Hawaiian alphabet, before we go into any of the Hawaiian words. This will help you in pronunciation for the words that we'll be covering. And the alphabet consists of 14 total vowels and consonants. The Hawaiian values are a, e, o, and u. Just one more time for clarification, that's going to be a, e, o, and u. These are the 5 vowels that you'll come to know during your time here. And just notice the difference in enunciation as well. It is vastly different from the pronunciation in the English language. Next up are going to be the consonants, which are he, ke, la, mu, nu, pi, ve. And then the last 2 on the bottom are going to be the okina and the kahako. And these are going to be the consonants that you'll see as well. The okina is going to act as a break in the word. So take Hawaii, for example. It's going to create a break in the last 2 E's at the end of that word. So instead of Hawaii, it's going to be Hawaii. And then these are more examples that we have here. So another example would be i'o, which is the Hawaiian word for fish. Instead of yo, it's just going to be i'o because it has that break there with the okina. And then on the bottom, it's not going to be pronounced mu, it's going to be pronounced mo'o because of that okina break as well, which is the Hawaiian word for gecko. Now the kahakos are going to be next up, and the kahakos are going to be elongated versions of the vowels. So in the Hawaiian alphabet, you cannot put a kahako over any of the consonants, so you won't see it over something like a ke or a pi or a he or a mu or a nu when you're looking through different Hawaiian words. They'll only be over vowels, so only over a, e, o, and u. So take kala versus kala, for example. Kala just means money, and then kala is going to be the Hawaiian word for unicorn fish. So that's kind of a crash course into the Hawaiian alphabet, and that'll help you guys pronounce the words that we're going to be covering shortly. And as I said before, we will be covering 25 total Hawaiian words and phrases, and the first 3 that we're going to be covering are going to be the 3 main values here at Hawaii Pacific University, and those are going to be aloha, kuleana, and pono. So I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with the first word, which is aloha. It could be a form of a greeting. For instance, if I were to say aloha to someone, it would just be me saying hello to them simply. Or if somebody says aloha kaimana, for instance, that's just them simply saying hello to me. It also can mean farewell too. So in the same case where aloha kaimana, for instance, can mean hello kaimana, it could also mean farewell kaimana as well. But it's not a form of goodbye. It's more so of a form of until we meet again. So I'm going to go over the pronunciation of every word so you guys can follow along with me from here on out. Aloha is pronounced aloha. So it's easy enough so you guys can repeat it back with me. One more time, that's aloha. All right. Jumping into our second word, we have kuleana, which means responsibility. And an example of that could be, say that your teacher is giving you an assignment. They could say that it's your kuleana to complete the homework assignment or to meet a certain project deadline. Once more, going over the pronunciation, kuleana is pronounced ku-le-ana, and then we can say it together once more. That's kuleana. All right. And jumping into our last Hawaiian value, we have pono, which loosely translates to righteousness. That's the closest English translation that this word has. For instance, you may hear someone saying that you need to be pono in your actions, just meaning to be righteous in your actions and to act righteously. Pono is going to be pronounced pono. So just like aloha, fairly easy to say. And you guys can repeat it back with me now. That's going to be pono. All right, we're 3 in. We're past the top 3 values at HPU. We're going to be moving on to our 4th word, which is going to be mahalo. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this word before as well. And it simply means thank you in Hawaiian. And you're going to hear this a lot of during your time here in Hawaii. Instead of saying thank you, you'll more often than not hear this word used instead. An example would be mahalo nui loa, which means thank you very much. So at the end of all my emails, I write this instead of saying like sincerely, thank you very much. I'll write mahalo nui loa and then my name instead. And then mahalo is going to be pronounced ma-ha-lo. So if you guys want to repeat it back with me, that's going to be ma-ha-lo. And then in addition of going with mahalo, a'ole pilikia is going to be the response if somebody does tell you thank you in Hawaiian. A'ole pilikia translates to no problem. So if somebody says mahalo to you, you can say a'ole pilikia in response to them. And this is 2 separate words put together. You're going to notice that, oh, I didn't even change the slide. You're going to notice that a'ole has 2 okinas, before the a and after the a, followed by the o. So it's going to create a slight break in speech. So instead of saying aole, it's going to be aole. So we're going to break this up into 2 separate words just so you guys have an easier time enunciating. So the first part, aole, is going to be pronounced a-o-le. And then pilikia is going to be pronounced pilekia. So when you put it together, aole pilikia. So if you guys want to try and pronounce that last part with me, we're going to go over it one more time. It's going to be aole, which is a-o-le, and then pilikia, which is pilekia. And then if we try to put it together, you get aole pilikia, which once again means no problem if somebody says mahalo to you. And then following up with aole pilikia, we're going to have a huiho, which is a way of saying farewell or until we meet again to someone. Think of it like a similar translation to aloha when saying farewell to somebody. This is very easy to pronounce too. A huiho is 3 separate words, so it's going to be a, hui, and then ho. So if you guys want to pronounce it with me, it's going to be a, hui, ho. So altogether, it's going to be a huiho. It's going to be farewell or until we meet again. All right. So this next one, wrapping up short phrases, we're going to be going into a komo mai, which is a form of welcoming to a single person or a group of people. When I give my campus tours, when we have schools come in from Oahu or from Inter-Island, we normally tell them e komo mai or come in at the beginning of the tour. And it loosely translates to come forth or to enter. One example, if any of you have ever been to Hawaii or Maui in particular, we have this sign plastered up at the Maui airport. So when you enter, you'll have a big sign saying e komo mai, or basically welcoming you into the islands. E komo mai is also multiple different words put together. So we're going to take it slow in pronunciation. So it's going to be e, komo, and then mai. So one more time, it's going to be e, komo, mai, which once again is a form of welcoming to a group of people or a single person. So if you guys want to try to say it all together, that's going to be e komo mai. All right. These next 3 are going to be ones that you guys are going to encounter a lot on the islands, and I do suggest you familiarize yourself with them. The first one is going to be kane. Now, you're going to notice that there is a kahako over the a, so it is slightly elongated. So instead of saying like kane, it's going to be kane. And this is the Hawaiian word for man. And you're going to see this plastered literally everywhere throughout Hawaii. Most likely you'll see restrooms use kane and wahine rather than men or women's restrooms. And just get familiarized so you know which ones to go into. You'll also see this in different clothing stores as well for changing rooms or for different separation of men and women's clothing too. And then once more, there's going to be a elongation over the a in kane. So in pronunciation, it's going to be kane instead of just kane. So one more time, that's kane. And put it all together, you get kane, which is the Hawaiian word for man once more. Following up with the Hawaiian word for man, we're going to have the Hawaiian word for woman, which is going to be wahine. So just like kane, you'll see this mainly on restroom signs and also in clothing stores just for separation purposes. Wahine is pronounced wahine. So once again, something easier to pronounce there. So one more time, if you guys want to say it along with me, wahine, and then put it all together, you get wahine. All right. Wrapping it up, we're on our 10th word now. So we're going to go over to keiki, which is the Hawaiian word for child. And as a short bonus, I don't have slides for these, but this is just for extra information for all of you guys listening in. So keiki kane would mean boy, and then kaikamahine would be girl. And you'll sometimes see this word on menus for certain restaurants. Instead of the kids menu, it'll be called the keiki's menu. And even some restaurants will have a keiki size below small for the drinks and meals too. So you'll see that scattered about throughout Oahu and Hawaii as well. Keiki is pronounced keiki. So if you guys want to say that once more with me, it's pronounced keiki, and then put it together, you get keiki. Okay, next word I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with. If you watch Lilo and Stitch, you're going to know this word all too well. So the next word is ohana, and as many of you know, it is the Hawaiian word for family. One example aside from Lilo and Stitch would be our annual HPU Ohana Fall Feast, which is a family get-together of all the people that go to HPU for Thanksgiving if you're not able to go home during that time. We host a big fall feast for everybody at our student dining facility, and it's just a really nice event to come and attend if you can't make it home during the Thanksgiving break. And you're going to see at the beginning of this word, you have an okina before the o in ohana, so there is a slight break at the start of the word. So it's going to be pronounced ohana instead of just ohana. I know it's kind of hard to listen for that break right now since this is kind of like a crash course into the Hawaiian language. But as you start practicing it more, you're going to hear the distinct breaks between okinas being present or not. So once again, the pronunciation is ohana. You guys can repeat it once more back to me. That's going to be ohana. And then put it together, you get ohana. All right. And then we have our friend next up. We have the green sea turtle, or the honu. And whenever there is a turtle that's resting on the shoreline, you may see a sign that says to stay back or stay a certain amount of distance away because there is a honu resting there. Honu is a pretty simple word to pronounce. No kahakos, no okinas, or anything like that. So it's just as it's displayed there, honu. If you guys want to repeat it back with me, that's going to be honu once more. And just put it together and you get honu. Simple enough, very easy word to learn. And you'll pick up on some of these a bit more than others as we go through this presentation. Next up, we have hana, which is the Hawaiian word for work, whether it be work at a job or just work at home in general. When you come to Hawaii, we also have a lot of different just Hawaiian phrases that we say rather than saying them in English. So for instance, the term pauhana is commonplace down in Oahu, especially in Honolulu and other places throughout Hawaii. It basically means you're done with work or you're finished with work. And then one common phrase you'll hear a lot, especially if you start driving on the island, is going to be either you're stuck in pauhana traffic or get pauhana traffic when you're coming home. And that just basically means that a lot of people are coming out of work at once and it's after work traffic or done with work traffic, basically. So that's normally when there's a clog in traffic coming back from your working place, or if you're coming back from school and you notice that there's a lot more cars on the road than beforehand, that's normally pauhana traffic, which is around 3 to 4 p.m. over here on Oahu. And then hana, easy to pronounce, is just ha-na. So if you guys want to repeat it back with me, it's going to be ha-na, and then put that together, you get hana. The next two are directional words, and you guys need to familiarize yourself with them when you come down to Hawaii. These two are kind of combined into one. They're on two separate slides, but I'm going to try to go through them as much as I can. So the next two words are going to be mauka first, which is pronounced mauka. And then after that, we have makai. And these are both directional indicators here in Hawaii. And these are especially prevalent when giving directions, either being described as mountainside or on ocean side of the road. So for instance, if we go back to Mauka, Mauka would be on the mountainside, while Makai would be closer to the coastline or the ocean side. So for instance, if you're getting directions from someone, they might say, oh, you can go Makai side or Mauka side to this certain place. So they'll be telling you what side of the road you should be on or where you should be going in terms of where you are on the road. So for Mauka, it's pronounced Mauka. So one more time, that's Mauka. And then when you put it together, you get Mauka. And then Makai is going to be Makai. And then one more time, we're going to say it over. It's going to be Makai, put it together, and you get Makai. All right. Next up, we have the Hawaiian word for delicious, which is ono. Once more, you're going to see that we have a okina at the beginning of the word, which indicates a break in speech before you say the full word altogether. You'll either hear a bunch of your local friends or residents saying something is ono or delicious pretty much any given time on the island. Whenever something is really good, this is the expression that we use instead of saying like it's so good or it's so delicious. Ono is pronounced just as it's displayed here. Just remember that the okina at the beginning is going to indicate a break in speech before you say the full word. So it's going to be ono. Put it together, you're going to get ono. You guys can repeat it one more time back with me. It's going to be ono, and then putting those two together, you get ono. The next word is important to know when you come here to Hawaii. You're going to see signs that are going to be listing a place as kapu, and that's actually quite culturally important when you come and visit the islands. You'll normally see these next to ancient heiau, more often than not, or places of cultural significance. And this basically means that you have to stay away from that place or that it's forbidden to enter that place. And here in Hawaii, it's a sign of respect if you do adhere to those warnings and don't decide to just push on forward just because the sign is blocking you. That's just because these areas have rich history to the Hawaiian people, and more often than not, the heiaus will date back to the 17 or even 16, 1500s and beforehand. When they were first created. So they do hold high spiritual and cultural significance. So if a place is marked off as kapu, we ask that you guys do listen to that and stay away from that area as well. Kapu is going to be pronounced as kapu, so it's fairly easy to pronounce for all of you. Once again, that's going to be kapu, and then you put the word, or you put the pronunciation together, you get kapu. All right. Next up is going to be, Next up is going to be maikai, which is the Hawaiian word for good. So more likely than not, if you take a Hawaiian language class here at HPU, you're going to be able to hear your teacher say maikai on an assignment or on you answering a question rather than saying good job. It's like a way of congratulating you as well. Maikai does have an okina in it too. So there is a break between the ka and the e. Instead of saying maikai, since that okina is there, you'll be able to say maikai instead. So maikai is pronounced maikai. One more time, you guys can repeat that back with me. That's going to be maikai. And then put it together. Just remember that okina is there, and you will get maikai. All right. And here we go. Our next word is going to be kumu. And here in Hawaii, it is commonplace for you to call your teachers kumu instead. Going to school here all, kindergarten through senior year of high school, I rarely refer to my teachers just as that, as teachers or professors. More often than not, you're going to hear your Hawaiian language teacher, if you decide to take hula here at HPU, you'll refer to them as kumu instead of as an instructor or a professor. And it is the Hawaiian word for teacher, as you can see on the screen. And once again, the word is commonplace here instead of using teacher or professor. And then kumu has no fancy kahakos or okinas either. So it's just going to be kumu. And then once more, that's kumu. You guys can repeat it one more time back with me. So it's going to be kumu, and then put it together and you get kumu. All right, we have a longer phrase next. So we have haoli lahanau, and there are a lot of okinas, kahakos, a lot of things going on with this whole phrase, but this is the phrase for happy birthday. So you'll see different cards on the island that you can buy for your friends or for your relatives. Instead of having happy birthday on it, they're going to have Ha'oli Lahanau or Ha'oli Lahanau Yaoi, which is happy birthday to you. And this does have an entire song along with it. Instead of saying happy birthday in English, there's a full Hawaiian song that you can sing to your friends, relatives instead. But that's a whole nother song for a whole nother time. This phrase, again, both incorporates kahakos and okinas. So you'll see the first okina in hau'oli, or the only okina rather. So it's going to break the hau and oli. So you will hear that break in speech. So you'll have hau'oli. And then instead of just saying la in the next part, you'll have la, since there's a kahako over it. And then ha no. So ha'oli la ha no instead of ha'oli la ha no. So that's kind of the separation between the two. All right, we're going to break this down and we're going to go over pronunciation. So first up, hau'oli is going to be hau'oli. One more time, that's going to be hau'oli. And then we have la, which is simple enough. It's just la, a little bit elongated. And then we have ha no. So ha no. So all together, it's going to be hau'oli la ha no. So if you guys want to try and repeat that back with me one more time, that's going to be hau'oli la ha no. And then all together, that's going to come out to hau'oli la ha no, which once more is going to be happy birthday in Hawaiian. All right, next word is very commonplace as well here in Hawaii. It basically translates to child of the land. This is the word kama'aina. And this is the term used in stores and local establishments in form of discounts to the local people. There are kama'aina rates at many places scattered throughout Hawaii, and more likely than not, you'll see this word used around a lot in that sense. Keep in mind the okina that's breaking the two a's in the middle of the word. So instead of saying kamaina, it's going to be kama'aina. So we're going to go over pronunciation once more. It's a longer word. It's a little bit intimidating, but we're going to go over it. It's going to be ka-ma-ai-na. So once more, that's ka-ma-ai-na. And then if you put it all together, just remember that break between the two a's, and you'll get kama'aina. And once again, that just means child of the land. Or if you want to remember it a bit easier, you can just refer to it as a local person on the island. All right, next word is going to be a fun one. Next word is pupu, which is basically the Hawaiian word for appetizer. And once again, just like the keiki menu, you'll see this a lot in local restaurants or just in restaurants scattered throughout Hawaii. And you'll have them labeled as like the pupu menu, or you can get like a pupu platter, which is basically just like an appetizer platter in any other place that you would see it normally. So pupu, easy enough to pronounce. It's just pu-pu, very repetitive. So once more, if you guys want to repeat it back with me, that's pu-pu. And then put it together, you get pupu. Okay, we're almost at the end. We have 2 words left, so let's finish strong. The next word is going to be kai, probably the easiest word to pronounce in this entire presentation. So kai is going to be the Hawaiian word for ocean. For instance, my name is Kaimana, which means powerful waters. It can also be, as an example, we could use makai, which is also ocean side. Kai is basically short and easy to pronounce. If you guys want to try and pronounce it with me, it's just kai. So if you guys want to say it once more back, it's going to be kai once more. Okay. And we're moving on to our last word, which is going to be ukulele. And ukulele is the stringed instrument of Hawaii. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Some of you may even play it or have it at your house. The pronunciation of ukulele is going to be how it's displayed on screen. This is a common misconception on how ukulele is pronounced. So it's going to be ukulele. So you can repeat that once more back with me. That's going to be ukulele. I know a lot of the time it's pronounced ukulele, but this is just showing you the pronunciation with the Hawaiian language. So if you guys want to say it once more, that's going to be ukulele, and then put it together, you get ukulele. And that's going to wrap it up today for the basic 25 Hawaiian words that we're going to be going over and covering. Zach, I'm not sure if you want to take questions right now, but I can stop the screen sharing and we can get into questions if you guys have any.
Absolutely. If you have any questions, let them type them in the chat, and then we'll get to those.
Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to ask. Thank you. So if you have any questions and you're listening in, feel free to just ask them. We do have a lot of extra time right now. So if you guys need anything covered, anything brushed over again, maybe you missed pronunciation on something, I can cover that now. But if not, then we should be good. We'll give it a couple more minutes though, to see if you guys have anything left to ask us. It can even be a general question, maybe about a Hawaiian word that you know and you need help pronunciating, or that you need help knowing the translation to. Oh, thank you. Getting a lot of positive feedback in the chat. "23 words. What were the first two?" Okay. So you jumped in for pono, I'm guessing, because pono was the third one in the presentation. So the first word, let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation and I'll just pull that up once more. All right, let's go back to the beginning. All right, so the first word was right here, and that was aloha, which is one of the three values here at HPU. So the first three were the HPU main values, and aloha is going to be hello or until we meet again. It's a form of goodbye. So it's right there plastered on the screen. And then an example would be just greeting somebody. For instance, if somebody were to say aloha kaimana to me, that would just basically them being saying hello. And then if they're about to depart and they say aloha to me in the same sense, that could mean until we meet again. So break it down, it's going to be pronounced aloha. And then if you put it together, you get aloha. And then the second word in the beginning, that's going to be kuleana, which is translated to responsibility. So just as a recap, sometimes you'll have your teachers or professors here at HPU say that it's your kuleana to complete an assignment or a group project, basically to meet their deadlines. And that's just a way of them saying that it's your responsibility to get this done. And then right there, you have the spelling and the pronunciation for it as well. So you have kuleana, once more, just so that you get it down. That's going to be kuleana. And then you put it together and you get kuleana. So I hope that covered it. Zach, if there's anything else in the chat, I'm just going to keep this up in case you want to recap anything.
So Erica asked, can you go over the mountainside versus water side again?
Mountainside versus water side again. All right. Do you want the like more of a translation, or do you want just the slides again?
Let's do both.
Let's do both?
Well, yeah.
All right. Let me pull this up real quick. Scanning through. All right. So Mauka basically would be mountainside. This is just referring to directions. And then Makai would be oceanside. So this is just a way that you can tell where somebody is directing you to go. You can also think of it as like Mauka. Let me go back to Mauka. Mauka is going to be the mountainside in context direction, and then you're going to have the ocean side being Makai. And this is more of a descriptor between left and right, so to say. So it kind of tells you which side of the road to be on, since the main roads either follow the coastline or the mountain line when you're on Oahu, for instance. So you don't really have to worry about deciphering which side to be on, because it's going to mostly be just a 2-lane shoot when you're traveling on Oahu, or in most of Hawaii in general. We don't have really big highways or freeways or anything like that. There's like maybe 3 or 4 throughout all the islands.
Looks like we have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Another one, could you go over pronunciations for Honolulu and Kaneohe and maybe some other important locations?
I can pull up the major. Yeah, let me go over this real quick. So Honolulu and Kaneohe were the main two.
Yes.
Okay. So Honolulu is going to be pronounced Honolulu. So Honolulu. And then Kaneohe does have a break in it. There is an okina in the word. So I believe it's between the e and the o. So it's going to be Kaneohe instead of just Kaneohe altogether. So it's going to be Kaneohe. And then other places on the island, for instance, like a big one is Like Like, or it's spelled like, but when you pronounce or when you enunciate it with the piapa, it's going to be Like Like. So that's a major one as well. Um, Other than that, there's places like if you go down to Waipahu, there's places like that too. Waipahu is just pronounced Waipahu. Are there any other specifics, or should I just go over all the different areas on Oahu, like the major areas?
Yeah. All the major areas.
Okay, let me pull up a map real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so the major ones are basically the two that I just mentioned before. Other than that, you're gonna also have Waikiki, which is pretty much the area right next to where HPU is at. It's right by Ala Moana. So Ala Moana and Waikiki are gonna probably be the other two. We do have a whole session that we're gonna be doing later on that is gonna cover locations and important areas throughout Hawaii. So you can tune in for that, and we can go over all the different spots and locations as well. We'll go over pronunciation for that too. And then there was one more.
How do you use aloha in the or in the love usage?
So it can just be the same way as I mentioned before. So for instance, like if you say aloha to somebody, it could be a form of greeting. It could also be a form of affection too. So in the same way that I mentioned beforehand, you can just use it with somebody's name, or you can use it for another item or another subject if you want to as well. It has multiple different meanings. There's like a whole little song for it if you want to go and look it up. But basically, it would just be the same way that I mentioned beforehand, unless you're trying to get into a more complex way of saying it, which is like sentence patterns, and we're not going to really get into that. But simplicity's sake, it's just going to be the same way as I stated beforehand.
Let's see. We got a couple more coming in.
Oh boy.
Would we use, I believe it's pronounced kumu instead of saying professor, Kumu?
So mainly you can call your professors at HPU. That was mainly referring to, say, if you took Hawaiian 1000 or you took a class like Hula. More often than not, if you take more of the Hawaiian geared courses, whether it be Hawaiian history or whether you take a class on the history of the Pacific or on Hawaiian language or Hula once more, you will refer to your teacher as Kumu. They don't mind if you call him professor as well, but it's just more of a commonplace thing because you're in that sort of setting for that particular class. But in your normal classes that you're taking, for instance, for me, I don't call all of my multimedia professors Kumu, so to say. I only call one of them Kumu, and the rest I just call professor. So it's just basically on your own context. But if you are taking a Hawaiian geared course, I would recommend that you use the word Kumu instead of professor. It's good practice as well.
And then the last one is there a Hawaiian word for shark?
Let me see if I'm thinking of the right word. I don't want to give you the wrong word. There is. Is it any particular shark in general or just shark?
It was just shark.
All right. I believe it's mono. So that would be mu a nu o with a kahako over it. And that would just be shark in general. So that would be mano instead of just mono because there is an elongated kahako at the end of the word over the o. But yeah, it would be mono, would be shark.
And then Susie had asked to touch on a few common pidgin words, but that will actually be covered in
We have a whole session that's going to be dedicated to different pidgin words when you come here. Just as a quick, I guess, intro to that, in Hawaii, we do have a slang term called pidgin. So you will hear that spoken a lot more often than, I guess, different slang from out in the US. So it's good to familiarize yourself with that as well, because there are a ton of pidgin slang words, and you do need to familiarize yourself with some of them in order to either understand where people are telling you where to go or understand your local friend when they're talking with you. Some of us can turn it on and turn it off, and some of us just go full rip on Pidgin. So it's good to know a bit of the words before you come here.
All right, that wraps up all the questions.
All right, I will cut screen sharing. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming. It was actually a good turnout today. We will be doing more installments like this. We will be covering once more the Pidgin slang and then also different locations throughout Oahu as well, and then just Hawaii in general to get you guys a bit more familiarized. You guys will pretty much know where to go, what to say. If you guys need to ask for directions, you'll be a bit more confident in asking where you're going to be going. But if that's it, that's pretty much going to wrap it up today here on Virtual HPU. Once more, my name is Kaimana Indica, and I wanted to thank you all for joining me here today to learn some basic Hawaiian words. Be sure to also check out the Instagram that we have. It's going to be virtual_HPU. Just once more, that's virtual_HPU. And pretty much follow that page. And we have our HPU Huaka'i series as well. And we have our fellow HPU student, Carly, who will be taking you to some fun spots around Oahu too. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, mahalo everybody. And we will see you in the next installment. Hui ho. Thank you all for coming.